Hey guys, Bridget here. In this video we're going to recreate the homepage of this amazing UI kit which I found on UI8, and you can check on their website, which is called Create. Now this UI kit is full of amazing features such as an entire design system and so many pages and components which are really well crafted using auto layout, so feel free to check it out. But without further ado, let's jump right into the tutorial. Alright, so let's get started with the project, and the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a frame which is going to be 1440 pixels of width as in the original, and it's also my favorite width in order to start a desktop app because it's not too big nor too small. So we're going to go ahead and create a basic layout grid which is going to be in columns, and we're going to add 12 columns to the layout grid and also add some margins on the side in order to contain the basic layout. Now we're going to change the color because this one, of course, it's going to interfere too much within the design. So I always like to keep the grids on a lighter tone. And actually, before we even decide the tone, one thing that we want to do is to change the color to black, and now we can actually go ahead and change the layout grid color. But in this case, I think this is heading up for the right direction, so we're just going to stick with it for the time being. Now let's go ahead and we're going to add the basic rectangle, which is going to be on the top. I'm going to round up this quite a bit so we can have this nice and friendly UI feeling to it. I'm going to remove the fill and I'm going to add a stroke. Now the stroke is going to be somewhat around these lines right here, and we can actually increase it just a little bit so we can better match the original design. Now what we're going to do is going to add the logo on the very left side, so I'm going to grab it from the original. I believe this is a logo which was found on a Noun project. Now, maybe this is not the case. I just remember seeing an icon similar to this one. So you can definitely use some lorem ipsum logo icons if you need them for your project on a Noun project. And let's add a line. So we're here, going to add a line which is going to match this color as well as the thickness of the line. We're going to bring this all the way here and bring the icon here on the left. Now we can also create this by using auto layout. I'm going to simply stick with the regular layout for the time being. But we actually have several tutorials where we're building web pages with auto layout. It's a bit of a controversial topic because although auto layout can be absolutely amazing in a lot of instances, in other ones it's actually more beneficial to just go with the regular layout, especially if clients who are not proficient with Figma most likely will need to do some tweaks to the design, or if it's a one-off project, you don't necessarily need to create a complex design system for a one-off freelance design project, although it's a great practice to actually structure designs in a way that they can be scalable for the future. So this is actually a topic which we are going to address in more details with some practical examples, but for the time being, I'm just focusing on creating the base for the design. So I'm going to copy these 3 lines and I'm going to make them smaller, just as you see here. And here on the top, we're going to have a few different text. Now I'm going to check the original typography, which is Enter. And if I go ahead and copy it, it's simply the font Enter at semi-bold. And we don't have a fill which is completely white. It's actually a shade of gray. So that's something that we definitely want to keep in mind. And I'm going to duplicate this a few times using Command D. So I used the Option Alt key in order to create a duplicate real quick. So Option Alt and then Command D. Oops, I'm opening up the dictionary for creating these duplicates really easily. Now we're going to write in team contact and I'm going to select all of these, distribute horizontal spacing, and I'm simply going to bring these all here. Possibly one thing that we can do is to reduce the size between one text element and the other, and overall we're definitely in a good position over here. Alright, now at this point I'm going to copy this text style, bring it over here. This one is going to be the blog. Now I'm going to get the icon which they used. You can follow along by simply using a resource such as nucleo icons, and you can for example, oh, here we go, without even having to search for pencil, you can drag and drop it, and very similar, so you can definitely follow along very easily. And I'm going to use the scale tool, scale it up, center it vertically, and yeah, overall just looking to find where we need to add this guy right here, and it happens to be right under the contact. It's going to be somewhere in between, or actually we can just bring it here. Here we're going to have the blog, which we're going to group in just a moment. Then we're going to have the get in touch section, which again is going to have a calendar icon instead of the pencil. So I'm going to increase the size just a little bit of the calendar icon, and going to bring this one to the center. All right, let's group these, and we are going to these guys a little bit less in vertically, and I'm going to essentially group all of this into the header element. All right, now we are up for the fun part, which is going to be the actual headline, and I'm going to copy it over here. And as you can see, the headline is 140 pixels in size, and it really drives the vast majority of the attention. So very clear, really like this bold approach, and overall still using Enter also for the headline, and we are essentially giving it a semi-bold, as I see, centered, so pretty easy to replicate in that sense. Now we're going to add the elements that we have in the original, which is going to be these sort of semi-rectangles. So let's go ahead and just going to add a few for basically to have something going. Then I can select all of these, then I can round them up all the way, and here we go. All right, now what I want to do is to select the image, and I'm going to copy it right here, and the question is how do we add this image on top of these which are going to be utilized as a mask. Now, for making, there's a few different ways that you can go about this. I'm simply going to use the union select to group them into one single element, just for conveniency. Then I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger so that I'm sure that it covers the entirety of these elements. And then I'm going to select the union which we just created together with the image. And I'm going to do that with the Shift key. Now at this point we have both of these selected, which we can also do by simply selecting them like this. We simply need to use the mask. As you can see, we mask them and we have this very nice effect for the top header section. Now let's go ahead and going to increase the height of oops. As you can see, it messed up the menu, so it's a great learning experience for you guys. Whenever this happens, you simply need to use Command as you use the frame extension tool, and this is not going to happen. So very easy. And I'm going to duplicate the headline. Let's decrease it significantly, and we're going to reduce the letter spacing to 0. This one's going to be auto. It's left line. Let's make it smaller. Probably I can just reduce a little bit the letter spacing, and I'm going to bring it here. And I'm simply going to copy and paste the original. Let's make it just a little bit bigger, and we are good to go. Cool. Now, from a UX perspective, I really like how it's really clear what the studio is about right away. You have this nice visual, which can potentially be animated as well, and you have a brief description as to what this website, this company is about. What are their services, their values, and we're going to add some social proof right here. So let's do that. And here we have the logos. Now, if you're working on a client project and you don't have logos, but you still want to show some lorem ipsum logos, my recommendation would be to simply head up on the Figma community, search for logos, and you're going to find a lot of different logos in SVG format, hopefully. Such as these ones here. So placeholder logos. These are actually exceptional looking logos for tech companies, and you can have these as placeholders. You can change the color of the text or of the icon, as well as text, of course. So quite useful. Now let's go to the service section. So let's add an arrow. Services. I'm going to use the auto width so it doesn't take up all that space. And now let's add the individual services. So web design, mobile. And I'm going to add a plus at the end. and this is not perfect. Let's retry. You can also simply get a plus icon somewhere, since this is you clearly see that some pixels are simply off. So this one here. Okay, awesome. Okay, I know what's going on. There we go. Cool. Let's make it white and reduce the size just a little bit. This one we're going to actually, let's add one of these lines. Okay, and now we have the rectangle part. Which again is going to contain an image, so I can simply copy and paste the image and make this one full width. So yeah, that's that. We're going to duplicate these a few times, so we can have 5 of them. And one trick is you can group all of this, duplicate it, Command D, and if for some reason it didn't match perfectly the height, you can simply adjust them. So I think in this case it's pretty good. Maybe like 1 pixel off, but not a big deal. Let's write in the text. Alright, now I'm simply going to add the different images from the original. In your case, what you can do for the images is you can simply go on Unsplash, which I used to have here. Did I activate it? Nope. Okay, it was simply loading. Then you can write in minimal, for example. You can find something like this for abstract. You can find all sorts of different, images which can serve the purpose. Even for this top level section, you can definitely like change things up by simply using different icons. So I'm going to use Option Alt and Command plus C and Command plus V in order to copy and paste the style. Oops. And we're good to go. And now we're going to move on to the next part of the page. And again, we're going to have this call to action, which I assume is essentially to bring the user to the next page. Let's add some rectangles, very big as I'm seeing, or actually let's make the base rectangle, duplicate this a bit of a darker color so you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to select this guy on the top, Option Command C, Option Command V. We have this nice outline. Now the outline is a 35 pixel border radius. So I'm going to double click on the rectangle, 35, and going to add the text. And I'm going to simply copy and paste the other images. Okay, let's bring them up over here. And I'm going to copy and paste the style. All right, let's do that as well for this one as well. Going to group these, group them, and I'm going to take care of the corner radius in just a moment. Right. Cool. So we have all the images. Of course, the corner radius it's not up to date, which we said we need to have that 35. So what I'm gonna do in this case, it's going to be this trick where I'm going to multiple select all of this using shift and command. Then over here, I'm going to basically change it all in one go, 36. And it's actually a bummer. I thought that I could change the corner radius of this element individually, which apparently you can't do with the images. That's a bummer. So I'm simply going to go over here and adjust these to 0. And let's change the text. Cool. So we are at a good point overall, and we are going to duplicate this, bring this one over here. Let's make it quite a bit smaller. Going to add a text. If it all work, going to get also the original icon. Oops, I just grabbed the part of the original icon. So I need to go back and add it. Let's make this one bigger. Really like this style overall. He definitely did a great job with the styling. Let's make this just a little bit smaller. Bring it up. Cool. So we have this section as well. Now let's duplicate this element. So it's going to be our theme, and I need this guy as well. And we're going to increase the size. Cool. I'm going to select this. Remember not to reinvent the wheel. Okay, it's going to be fine. And I have the text which again, inter semi-bold 18 pixels, inter semi-bold 16 pixels. Now you might want to notice how the color is different between the name and the title. That is to give the name of the individual more visual emphasis. So keep these nuances in mind because they do make quite a significant difference within the UX context. Right, and to group this, duplicate it, and we are going to create an entire row with this. And now we need to add the photos. All right. So at this point, we're going to copy this. Again, 36. Cool stuff. All right, so we have the base going, and now we're going to group this element, duplicate it, write see members, center it, and we are almost arrived towards the ending. So what we need now is a big call to action. So going to add here, let's do one thing for the time being. Let's add the let's go back on the original image, copy it, paste it over here, corner radius, and let's grab this heading element. Going to bring it over here. Right, have an idea. Let's talk. Going to make it smaller, and as you may notice, the legibility isn't great. So what we are going to do is we're going to apply a soft overlay of a black fill. So something around these lines can actually be quite good. I'm going to go ahead make this one significantly smaller. It's -1. I'm going to basically add some text. Okay. Now we're going to add a button. Let's round it up all the way. Calendar. We're going to on this one here. Let's make it smaller. All right, we have the base. Cool. So at this point, we're simply going to copy the top section in order to create the footer all the way down, and have a different logo. So I'm simply going to copy and paste this guy here. Let's make it white. Actually I just noticed. Let's make this one white. This one here is going to be 0%. So we simply don't have a fill. This one needs to be white. And we're heading towards the finish line. Right, I go a little bit more here, completely unrelated from the design. Okay, let's bring this here. Going to have a copyright text. And here we have some social icons, which simply going to grab directly. It's very simple to recreate. Just add an ellipse, and then you can add the icon. You can even set the ellipse at 10%, and then reduce the fill in order to match. I usually keep it at around 10%, and then you can find the social icons on Nucleo icons, Noun project, or one of the many resources to find icons. And so we're going to adjust this one, to adjust this guy as well, and we're done. Cool. I really hope that this tutorial was helpful. If you want to learn more about Figma or UI UX and web design, I'm a self-made designer with over 10 years of experience, and I share all my knowledge here on YouTube, but I'm also very active on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I have a email list where I share things which I can't really share on social for the most part. So if you're interested, that is also where you can find me. And I hope again that this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the very next one.